All right, so I'm here with Karen Erickson today from KW Vermont, and thanks for joining us. So Karen's been in the business for 17 years, has sold hundreds and hundreds of homes. Always been impressed with your level of service to your clients. You probably get more referrals from friends, family, past clients, and an agent that I know. But one of the things that I know you specialize in quite a bit is helping families downsize, whether they've been in a home for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. So excited to just get a little bit more information that we can put out to some people who are considering downsizing and just answering some questions so they just have some more information. So what would you like to tell us about yourself before we get started?
Well, I'm old enough to have done a lot of things in my life, including before real estate, being marketing and sales manager at a company and being a teacher for 14 years. Took my family on a sabbatical to Mexico and lived there for a while. Was a newspaper reporter. A lot of things that got me connected with people so that I could have a lot of experience working with lots of different people. And
awesome.
People always said I'd be good at real estate. So finally, after I don't know how many years, I decided to get my license, and I've really never looked back.
Yeah, well, I think that was a pretty good decision for you because you have a lot of happy clients. So when you're talking about somebody who's been in their home for 10, 20, 30 years, how did you come to start working with this clientele or specializing in helping people downsize from a home that they've been in for a while? And what do you think the skill set is, or skills that an agent needs to really properly help these clients achieve their goals?
Well, I think I started working with people who are downsizing because I myself downsized. And I saw how difficult it was to take years and years and years of possessions and memories and be able to I had a house that was almost 4,000 square feet, and I moved to a house that was 1,700 square feet. So I literally had to cut my stuff in half. So I made my own decision to move a year. I started working a year before I actually knew I was going to move.
Wow.
And so I was able to look at things unemotionally in terms of what I had to get rid of, or I could get certain things with my kids, or I could give stuff away at church, put it on the street corner, or whatever. As far as a skill set goes, I think that you have to have a lot of empathy for what people are going to be going through, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
They have to get rid of possessions that they've loved, and they have to find a way to detach from that. So I think empathy is an important skill set. I think organization is important. I think seeing people enough ahead of time and giving them a timeline and a to-do list is important. I'm a big list maker.
Yep.
So if I can help other people make lists, even if I'm saying to them, start one room at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just start, say, with one of the bedrooms that you're not using, and just take it from there so that they can start getting rid of things, or pack stuff in boxes.
Yeah.
The stuff you want, start packing now. It doesn't matter how long from now you're going to start moving. Just start packing it and just label it really well. You can change your mind and throw it out if you want to, or give it away, but start now. Small.
Yeah, seems like it can be an emotional journey sometimes for somebody, family memories in a home and just having been there for so long. So I guess you're really adding yourself to the team to really help them get through that.
Right, and here's the thing, everybody's different. So some people are moving because their spouse died.
Yeah.
And that's really emotional and very, very difficult. Some people are moving because they have to go into long-term care or assisted living. That's really hard too. And sometimes you're working with the children of those people.
Yeah.
So everybody is different. Every situation is different, and you have to treat it differently. And you have to do a lot of listening, because people have a lot of stuff that they want to tell you. They want to tell you about their past. They want to tell you about their pictures. They want to tell you about their photo albums. And you just are there to meet them at whatever level they're at.
Yeah, no, that makes tons of sense. So I'm sure it's overwhelming for a lot of people when they're going through this process. And I'm sure that's probably what slows people down as they're going through it, probably not even knowing where to start. So what are some concerns that you hear from people the first time you talk to them, when you meet them at their home? Or what are some things that you kind of help them through?
Well, the first thing they are worried about is, can they even do this?
Yeah.
And so if I let them know, first of all, you meet with me. Second, you meet with our staging professional. So she can help you get a plan for decluttering, getting rid of things.
Yep.
There are services like 1-800-GOT-JUNK or Grunts Move Junk. You can, Habitat for Humanity will come and get certain things. Sometimes people don't even realize that there are free or low cost services that will help you get started. But the first thing is meet with me, then meet with Melanie, and Melanie will help guide you. Now, it can be years from now that you're planning on moving. It's okay, still go through that process. It's never too early. Melanie will keep on checking back with you to see how you're doing. Call her every week if you want to, just to say, even just to touch base and say, hey, I'm really proud of myself. I cleaned out my basement. And she'll be your biggest cheerleader, and so will I.
So just to clarify, so one of the things that yourself or your team does is literally be there every step of the way.
Yes.
And walk them through that process.
Yes.
You're not just giving them a list of phone numbers and saying, here you go.
No, we are your extended family. And the important thing about that is that some people who are downsizing no longer have family, or they don't have family in the area, or they have people who are unable to help them.
Gotcha.
So if I have to pack boxes for them, I pack boxes for them. If I get a crew of people, I need to get a crew of people, I get a crew of people. If it takes a long time, we really are a part of their family.
That's awesome. So you might have answered this next question already, but I feel like one of the paralyzing things that people go through is like, where do I start? Mm-hmm. Like, what's that first step? So if somebody's even considering this, maybe it's 3 months down the road, 6 months. I know we have clients that are 2, 3, 5 years down the road sometimes. What's the first thing that they should do when they're even considering doing this? Well,
the first thing is to call me. Okay. And I'll make an appointment to come over. The next thing, as I said, is to get Melanie over there. And then what we can do is once things are removed, decluttered, cleaned out, Melanie can come with a professional photographer and start taking pictures. Okay. What's great about that is that let's just say that you know where you're moving. So we'll take the pictures, then you can move out. And we'll use those pictures for when it's listed, because that works fine. It's 50-50 what people feel about whether you want to market an empty house or you want to market a house with furniture in it. Mm-hmm. I personally think it's better to market a house with furniture in it. I think people like that feeling of someone's home, and some people can picture their home better with somebody else's furniture. Some people need to picture with their own furniture. I still lean on the side of have photographs with furniture in it.
So that's smart. So even if someone's moving out before they're selling to a new place, we can do all the photography and everything for them. Absolutely. Great. So I'm sure the process can be tough or confusing for some people quite a bit. So can you just give me a quick rundown of what the process would be for someone who says, I've made the decision, I do want to downsize, and then I have to, go find the next place where I'm going to be living. I know that next living situation can be different for many people. It could be, assisted living or independent living or moving with a family member. Right. But, what's the timeline, or what's that look like for somebody considering? The timeline is so personal. And it really, let's say that I want to move. So I'll take my own situation. We were moving from this 4,000 square foot house to 1,700. I had to sell my house in order to buy my next house. Not everybody has to do that. And we can talk more about that in a minute. So it was kind of like chicken or the egg. Do I get my house sold and then go find something and rent for a while? Do I get my house under deposit with the idea of it's contingent upon finding suitable housing? How do I do this? Do I go look first and see what's out there? In this current market, you find something you want, it's gone quickly. Gotcha. So some people are going to need to get a pre-approval letter. And if the pre-approval letter, because they want a loan, the pre-approval letter says that they have to sell their house first, that's a different story than if the pre-approval letter says they don't have to sell it first. So if I don't have to sell my house first, I can start looking right now for a home. Gotcha. If I'm going to pay cash and I have it in the bank, great, even better. If I need to take the equity out of my house because I have no mortgage, well, then the first thing I'm going to do is talk to somebody about getting a line of credit on my house so I can write a check at closing for cash. Then I'm going to go and sell my house, pay off that line of credit. So everything is completely individualized. So essentially what I'm hearing is every situation is not created equal. Correct. So it's different for every person. Correct. But that's why you want to work with an experienced realtor
Exactly.
who can really help you through the process, because it seems like you've probably dealt with many, many different situations.
Right. And the thing is that because if I was 17 years of experience, it means that I can tell people stories. And I think by telling stories, it really helps people, number one, get comfortable with the process. Number two, it means that they're not alone. It's happened before. Number three, they know I'm experienced at handling this.
Yep.
So if I can tell a story of my situation or somebody else's situation, it's much easier for them to understand. Remember, I was a teacher for 14 years. So the important thing is that you teach your client how to go through this process, and you set it up as clearly and smoothly and easily as you can, because it's already stressful. The last thing you need to do is add stress to the situation as their real estate agent. You've got to go the opposite way. You have to take all the stress away from them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that's great. So one of the things I think is there's a lot of misconceptions around, downsizing or things that are maybe overwhelming for people when they're even considering this in their life. I think what I've heard in myself, and you can tell me if they're true or not true, is I'm afraid once I sign with a realtor that they're going to make me sell my house in 2 weeks. I'm just not ready for it. Or other times people will say, well, when I sell my house, then I'm going to be homeless and I can't have a place to go. So what would you tell people that have those concerns or other similar concerns?
Well, especially in this market right now, the sellers can write their ticket a lot. So if you're going to sell your house in this market right now, you just simply say, I'm not going to close until such and such a date.
Okay.
And if you're selling it contingent upon finding suitable housing, recently what happened was they were selling it contingent upon finding suitable housing, but they needed to close on the new house before they sold the other one. In other words, they were not going to sell their house unless they had actually, they were not going to let somebody buy their house unless they actually closed on the new place that they were going to be. And the buyer said, okay. Buyers were coming from New York. They actually never saw the house until closing day.
Wow.
They were willing to do whatever it took to have that house. So right now in a seller's market, you just write down the way you want it to be. Nobody's going to be homeless. Nobody's going to have to move in with relatives or rent a house or live in a hotel unless that's what their choice is.
And what about the concern of as soon as I list with my realtor or sign a contract that, I have to sell my house in 30 days or 60 days?
So the way we do it on our team is that in order for Melanie to come over to the house to start the process, we want you to have made a commitment to us because we're making a commitment to you. So you sign a listing agreement with us, and then you don't have to put it on the market in the MLS until you tell us. That means I don't care if it's 9 months from now and it takes that long for you and Melanie to work together to get the house ready. It doesn't matter. You've committed to us and we've committed to you. Yep. Likewise, if you get going and all of a sudden you see the house of your dreams, boom, we can move really fast because you've already started the process. It's total win-win when you do it that way.
Yeah.
And remember, you don't have to sell your house unless you want to.
Yeah.
You're in the driver's seat.
One of the things in my experience in working in these situations is you get the frantic phone call from a client or a friend or a family who says, my parents have been thinking about downsizing and the perfect house just came on the market for them. It kind of came out of nowhere, but they don't even know where to start or they don't know what is ready. So, for the end goal on that, aside, what's the advice you would give to some people in the situation who might run across this scenario where they find the perfect home? What would you tell them today if they were sitting in front of you?
Sure. Well, the first thing you have to do is have a conversation with them and find out really, do you need to sell your house first?
Yep.
What's your personal situation, and find that out first. Or they might be in a situation where they have plenty of finances. I would say to them, let's go see that house right now.
Okay.
Because somebody else is already ready to see it. And I don't want you to miss out on it. And if I have to build rapport and get to know them from the front door in, that's what I'll do. Because I don't want them to miss out.
Yeah.
When I show a property to someone, I'm usually representing them. But sometimes I end up showing it to them and representing them afterwards. That's okay. I just need to get them in. Here's the thing. They're the ones who are in charge. They're the ones who are quarterbacking the team. If I've never met them before, that's okay. Whoever recommended them to me knows me.
Yep.
And they know that I can take care of this and handle it. So I'm totally on their time frame. I'm totally what they want me to do.
But it sounds like if they've reached out to you prior to this happening, they're already so far ahead of the game. So if they have been working with Melanie for 2,
usually
5, 6 months, then
right.
When that situation occurs, they've already started to declutter and give some stuff away or sell some furniture.
That's ideal.
That is ideal.
That's ideal. However, sometimes someone just says, say for instance, someone is ill in the family and they can't go up and down stairs. And now they need to have a 1-level home and one comes on the market and they haven't done anything yet. That's okay.
Yep.
We run out and see it. If they buy it, we take care of things afterwards. That's fine.
Gotcha.
I'm currently sort of throwing things away and packing stuff in a box for someone who's moved to Colorado and has nobody here to help her. That's all right. I don't mind.
That's great. That's why you're a great agent. So one of the things I've heard too is it seems like it'd be so much easier for some people downsizing to be able to purchase their next house, move all of their belongings and everything in their next house. So it's a nice, seamless, easy process. Doesn't seem rushed, yet it's hard to make that work financially. So do you have any advice as to what some creative ways are to make that process easier so they can purchase the next home without having to sell first?
Sure. I mean, there are a lot of choices. So one is, can you qualify, if you want a loan, can you qualify without selling your house first?
Okay.
Get a pre-approval letter that says that. Number 2, do you have equity in your house and you can get a line of credit on your house to take the cash out? That's another choice right there. Which, by the way, when people are thinking about downsizing, getting a line of credit set up on their house to have for emergency is a really good idea.
Gotcha.
They don't have to use the line of credit. It's there in case they need it. When we bought our house in Burlington, we hadn't sold our other house yet, but it gave us time to move all of our stuff into our new house, and it was really, really nice to do that. I've never been able to do that before. I've always had to have everything moved out and had the moving van idling in the driveway of the next place, and it was really stressful. So if you don't have to do that, we just help you through that process.
Got you. So with a line of credit, essentially you're on the home that you own currently, you get
Correct.
a line of credit, which allows you to buy your next place. And then when you sell your current home, you just pay off the line of credit
Exactly.
and you own your new house outright.
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't get a line of credit overnight.
Yep.
So if you have any sense that you want to do this, just start talking to your loan officer, start with your own bank or somebody else that you know well, and get the process going. Because you're going to have to prove that you can afford to pay that back, and you're going to have usually an appraisal on your house to see that it's worth what you want to take out of the house. So it's not an overnight process.
So if somebody has no mortgage currently on their home, they have a lot of equity, so they can start the process. And from my experience, it seems to take a couple weeks with the bank, and they order an appraisal, and you pay for the cost of the appraisal, but really there's no other expenses to you.
Right. There's usually some miscellaneous type expenses, but it's not going to be very costly.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it seems like there are a good amount of people that are, taking advantage of the escalating market and the prices going up and, the low interest rates. Are you seeing that quite a bit now, where people are deciding that it's a good time to downsize for them? And what are the reasonings that you hear from people as to why they are?
Well, the people who can plan ahead, I think
ahead,
right. That's the thing. If people can plan ahead, I think they're seeing that pretty soon we're going to hit the peak of the market. Yep. Nobody knows exactly when that's going to be. I mean, how do you know it's hit the peak? Well, when it started going back down, right? So we all have a crystal ball as to what the peak is going to be, and people don't want to miss that.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all my questions, but thanks for spending some time with us, and I'm sure people will find this very, very helpful. Thanks for being here with us today.